Hello, my name is Joseph Rittenhouse. Welcome back to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. It is April of 2019. This is my $217 a month room. I've been in Vietnam for about a month this time, and I'm going to go up to Nanchang, China tomorrow. Nanchang is by Hangzhou, China. I just finished up my income taxes. I did them online, submitted them back to the United States. My other videos, I'm a financial educator, property investor. I love learning, which is also why I love teaching, because I love learning. I love the psychological process. I like sharing my financial journey, my financial independence journey. I retired when I was 36 years old. I was a bus driver, saved my money, bought rental property, was able to retire about 5 years later when I was 36 years old. I haven't been working for about 2.5 years now, just growing my wealth. And it's been a journey, and like a lot of journeys, I said, whoa, what's going on here? This is fascinating. So in my videos, I like to focus on the psychology and the culture, the anthropology, and the society, the sociology, and the math, the graphs of financial independence and the journey. Just one more thing about journeys, and then I'll get into talking about soldiers, athletes, and wealthy people. That's what I wanted to talk about today. One more thing about journeys. Just, you need to study words. And I've been studying, what does that mean, journey? Because people say, enjoy the journey. It's not just the destination. And I thought, yeah, that's true. And how can I explain that better? And I was thinking of a couple examples. When I went from Sihanoukville, Cambodia, which is on the southern coast of Cambodia, and I went to the island Koh Rong, which is like a 45-minute boat ride from the island. You're sitting there on the boat, and I'm thinking, this is the journey, just like my financial journey. I thought the boat ride is just as fun, if not more fun, than actually arriving on the island. Like, I love boats, the ocean, it's just romantic, and you have the wind in your hair, and you see the islands going by in the sky, and you think of all the fish below you. And I thought, the journey is part of the destination. And then in America, I drive around in my Honda Civic. Sometimes I just sleep in my car, and I wake up in the middle of the desert at a truck stop, and I say, I love this car. It's just fascinating how this thing makes electricity and has air conditioner and heater, and this thing can go for thousands and thousands of miles. And it can even control its own speed, and it has electricity for me to plug in my phone. It's fascinating. And then I get a coffee, and then I try different foods, so Navajo flatbread and Navajo tea, and boiled beans and the boiled peanuts in the south. And when you get to your destination, Daytona Beach, Florida, I live in California now, and when I get to Daytona Beach, Florida, it was everything in between. So that's the fascinating thing for me. It's like, wow, wait a second here. Let's learn about this. Let's learn about the journey. I'm on a financial journey. And because I love teaching, I try to take complex things and break them down into little pieces so that it's a game for me. I want to take this complex thing and see if you can understand it quickly. And if you do, then that means I won the game. It's a game to me. So we have wealthy people. We have athletes, we have soldiers. These are different concepts we have in life, and wealth, people really get hung up on this. There's so much vagueness, and it's even a bad word to say a rich person. It's almost a bad word to say rich person, right? There's a lot of bad feelings. A rich person. I've even had people say, oh, I wouldn't make money like that. I wouldn't be a landlord because I wouldn't want to make money like that, as if I'm doing something bad, like evil. I had an Englishman in Cambodia when he heard I was a landlord, because we were talking. He's like, "Oh, you're one of those slumlords." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So there's a lot of bad things about wealth, and it's confusing and it's vague. So I'll start off with the other two that are less vague. You have a soldier. A soldier has a uniform. It's very obvious that that's a soldier right there. The soldier will practice and learn tactics. They will do strength training, lift weights to get stronger so they can carry the equipment. They'll do target practice to learn how to use the gun better. They learn how to drive a tank. They learn how to fly an airplane. They do that most of the time. They're practicing. Most of the time is getting prepared for the battlefield. The soldier goes out there on the battlefield. It's this army versus this army. The army who's the best prepared, has the best tactics, will win. Then they get off the battlefield and the battles stop. Also, a soldier can choose to be a soldier, or they can choose to retire. They can say, you know, I've been a soldier for 10 years, I've had enough of it, I'm kind of beat up, I don't want to do this anymore. And okay, they can go off and do something else. So everything is very clear, and it's optional. It's very clear, the training, the preparation, and the battlefield is there, and they can quit anytime they want. It's very clear, and it's optional. And now an athlete's wearing a uniform. I can see very obviously if this is a hockey player or maybe an American football player. They've got the uniform. They do strength training, they study tactics, they do it over and over again. They get good at the equipment, they get good at kicking the field goal. Special players do special things in the field, and then they go out on the field, they play the game. There's rules of the game, what you can do, what you can't do, and the team that is the most well-trained wins. And then they get off the field and the game stops. This is all very clear to me. It's clear to most people. We get it, it's obvious. And then an athlete, after 10 years, 20 years, they can say, you know, I've been playing this game enough. I think I'm going to move on to a different part of my life. Everything is compartmentalized. There's the athlete time, and then there's the retired time where they do something else. There's the soldier time, then there's the time when the soldier does something else. It's very easy to understand it. It's in little pieces, and it's optional. And it's funny because don't we talk about sports and war as metaphors for life? It's almost as if life is too complex, so we like to break it down into like metaphors. So we say the game of life. Oh, it's just a game. You got to play the game right. Do you know how to play the game? So there's the sports metaphor that the sports game is just like life. Then there's the battle metaphor. It's the battle of life. It's a war out there. You got to win the war. Life's a battle. So it's almost like we use these smaller things to try to understand the bigger, more complex thing. And I had this realization. I thought, so I'm just like a soldier or an athlete. I have the uniform. This is my uniform for life. And we all have different uniforms for life, but you have to wear your uniform. You also have to participate in life. When you're born, you have to participate. At first, you have these big humans called parents that will help you out, and they will guide you, and they'll provide you with food and shelter. But eventually, your mother and your father are going to die, and you're going to be on your own. So you're forced to go in the world. You're forced to participate. And I like to call it a marketplace where there's giving and receiving of value. So in this world, I need to find out what I can offer to the world, and I'll give it, and then the world will compensate me with other things. Not just money, but other things that I can use for shelter and food and clothing and satisfaction and happiness. And the world will receive things from me as well. Even physically or mentally disabled people will have to participate in the world. Maybe someone in a wheelchair, maybe they can't use their legs to give value, but they still have their eyes, their mouth, their brain, their ears, their hands to offer and receive value in the marketplace. Someone who has mental disability. So mental disability is fascinating. Sometimes mental disability, or what do they say in psychology, diagnosed with a disability? First of all, whole psychology thing and giving medication, that's a whole other subject for another day. But everyone is unique, and we all have different variations of personality and ability and disability, right? No one is perfectly able and no one is completely disabled. Even a mentally disabled person can still provide value to the world, and they can still receive value and compensation. So you have to participate in life, but the difficult part is very vague. What's the rules of this life? Everyone comes up with rules. There's even evil people, and there's better people. There's people who want to abuse, and there's other people who want to contribute. Who is who? Evil person might tell me, this is what you should do with your money. And I believe them, and I get hurt. Maybe I lose all my family's money because I believe that person. This person, they are better with wealth and money, and they want to help. But now I don't believe them because some people out there, they'll hurt you. I'll lose all of my family's money, I'll lose my family's house. So it's very vague, it's dangerous. Money amplifies personalities. So if you were an evil person before, when you get money, it just makes you more of an evil person, more capable to be an evil person. Because now you have options because you have money. If you were a good, considerate person before you had money, when you get more money, you just become more of a good person because now you have more options. Your personality is amplified. So it's vague. Also, rich people, poor people. Who is rich? Who is poor? I assume that people who have wealth probably are good with wealth. Well, not necessarily. Maybe they were born with wealth. Oh man, now it's getting really confusing. So you're telling me there's wealthy people who didn't earn the wealth yet. And you're telling me there's wealthy people that just kind of stumbled into wealth yet. There's even this thing called lottery tickets where people get wealth all of a sudden. There's even people in the world that look wealthy. They have the clothes, the car, the house, but they were able to manipulate money in such a way and credit in such a way that it looks like they're wealthy. It's a facade. And the facade comes down later when their car is repossessed and when their house is foreclosed on. And then you have people over here that look like a monk. They look poor or homeless. Come to find out this guy is actually a millionaire. He just chooses to live like that. You're like, oh, what's going on here? Now it gets all psychological. This guy was trying to boost up his validation and his ego by giving a facade of having wealth and control and a facade of knowing how to manage wealth because he had some emotional need. That's very vague. Like, what are the emotional needs of that guy over there? And then you have this guy over here who looks homeless. Looks like he doesn't own anything. Why would he do that? Why would he look like that? Psychology. It's psychology, and he just chooses to live like that, to be like that. Like, why does he choose to live like that? Like, well, it's vague. It's psychology. It's the human mind. So you can see how a sports game or an athlete or the battlefield or the soldier, they're metaphors for life. This is much easier for us to understand. And we can all, it's simple. There's 100 moving parts. There's 75 moving parts. But when you get onto life, there's as many variations on living as there are personalities. It's very complex. So far, what I'm saying is that you have to participate in life. You have to. It's also going to be vague. You have to achieve at least a minimum level of competence. Some people are barely scraping by. Some people can't make it, They give up. I give up. I'm not going to participate in this life. I don't want a house. I don't want a car. I don't want clothes. I'm not going to participate. It's too much work and I don't understand it. You can be stubborn and put your head in the sand like that. You can go the too spiritual route where you denounce everything because you can't figure it out. You can maintain a minimum level where you're pretty competent. Maybe your life is a little bit bland or mediocre. You're just getting by day to day. That's not bad either. You can choose to be like that. And some people go way the other extreme where they just get obsessed with learning how to create, manage, and use money. But you at least have to maintain a minimal level if you're going to provide yourself with a decent level of a comfortable life of clothing, shelter, and food. The nice thing about today's world, the beautiful thing about America is you don't even have to do that much to maintain a comfortable lifestyle, right? You can work at McDonald's or KFC and be playing Xbox and have a car and go to the beach and watch movies, enjoy a coffee, be clean, your body and your clothes are clean, have new clothes. You don't have to, that's the beautiful thing about America. Another thing that's fake about it is you're going to be working on different parts. You're going to be working on here and you're going to be working here. Things in the mind are, you can't even see them, and things in here are, you can't see them. With a soldier, we can say that soldier has good marksmanship skills. We can say that that athlete is good at making goals. Now in the financial world, you can say, well, I can see the financial report. I can see the income and expense statements. I can see the tax returns. Those are the report cards of the adult world. Adults do get a report card. It's called your tax return. They do get a report card. It's called your, bank account statement. But that's still more hidden than other things, right? Just like you don't know who's rich, you don't know who's poor, you don't know who's good at managing money and who's not good at it. So it's very vague. And most people don't like to show things like that. You're going to be working on ideas. You mean I can just get a simple job and just save money and buy a simple average house in Main Street America, and it's not even a beautiful new house, and I can make money? That doesn't make sense to me. You mean I can just do a simple job for a few years and I can become wealthy within 5 years, within 10 years? That's too simple. So there's a lot of things that you're going to have to learn up here. I had to learn to save money, sometimes 30 to 50% of my money when I was working. I also had to learn to plan, to collect data, to measure, to do basic math. You only need the math of an elementary school student: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You need the planning ability of a junior high school student. You need to be able to write, where am I? Let me write out a plan here for 2 years, using all your Venn diagrams, your charts, your lines. And you need to be able to read at the level of a high schooler. You need to be able to read books like Think and Grow Rich, Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. Those are like high school level reading. All of this is in the mind. You can't see it. You can't see where my books are. You can't see where my notebook is. You can't see what I wrote in my notebook. It's not very obvious. Then you're going to have to work on emotional things. That's a hard part. That's a very hard part. You're going to say, hey everyone, I want to do this thing called purchase rental real estate, and I'm going to start saving my money. And at first, everyone's going to be like, yeah, good job. Of course, good job. Your mother and father are going to say good job. Your brother and sister are going to support you. Your friends and family are going to support you and say, yeah, good job, man. But then you're going to start to become too different. Now you start getting $50,000, $100,000. You're investing that with other people. Now you're getting up to 2 houses, 3 houses, and your family and friends are going to start to get nervous. I say, aren't you going a little bit too far into this? Aren't you getting a little bit too deep into this stuff? And it's because they're a little bit nervous about you getting out of the pack. They're concerned that you might get hurt. You might get lost. You might lose the family's money. You might lose the family's house. Now you start reading a lot. You're reading all the time. You're in cafes all the time. You're writing down a plan all the time. You're starting to look a little bit unusual. Come on, man, let's go out. It's the weekend. Let's go out and spend a grand in Las Vegas. Like, nah, let's just sit around and have a coffee and chill. Play some Xbox. And you're going to start to have friction with your friends. It's going to be emotional. You're going to start to feel a little bit lonely. You start to do things that people don't understand. Instead of buying new cars, new houses to show off, to show people you are saving your money because you want to get a new rental property so that your income will go up. It's going to be emotional. You're going to have people call you, like that one guy called me a slumlord. Can you imagine what's going to happen when I have kids and my kids' friends, family find out that I'm a landlord? They're going to attack my kids. They're going to call my kids, stuck up. Oh, your dad is a slumlord. I have people call me lazy because they don't see me working. They call me lazy. They call me, someone called me a dry old man. A younger girl, she called me a dry old man because I wake up, I read, I write, I go for a walk, drink a coffee, drink a tea, read a book, maybe go on a scooter ride around the city. It looks like a dry old man. So I'm warning you that you're going to have to get used to these things. And it gets even more difficult when you stop working. You've got to be prepared emotionally for that kind of life. You can't just work one day and then quit. You've got to prepare yourself emotionally. So the things we're working on here are here and they're here. They're not very visible. They're kind of vague. That's what you're going to have to do too. And wrapping this up, we are all unique. We have our own unique personality traits, habits, and tendencies. Some of the tendencies I have, I am an independent person and I can be alone for a long time. So it's no big deal for me to go off with a bunch of books and travel to Cambodia or Europe and just read and read and read and take notes for a long time. It doesn't bother me. I don't feel lonely because in my mind I have videos I want to make and I have books I want to write. I'm thinking about who will I write for? I wonder what they would want me to write. They won't understand that. Let me write this a little bit differently. So in my mind I have people that I'm producing for, people that I'm producing for in the future. I make these videos for my children. I make these videos for my grandchildren. So I don't feel alone. I also have a really strong imagination. So as I traveled around the world, in my mind, when I'm going from Beijing to Chengdu, I'm thinking of Marco Polo. And when I go to Mongolia, I'm thinking of Marco Polo and the Great Han. When I go from Vietnam to China tomorrow, I'm thinking of it as some beautiful movie, some cool, the emperors and the Chinese and Vietnamese delegate. I'm just using my imagination. It keeps me going. I can be alone for a long time and I can keep myself entertained for a long time. It's a good trait. It's helped me. I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, so I do things over and over and over again. And once I learn something interesting, I do it over and over and over and over and over again until it's good enough. A little bit obsessive compulsive is good. I would never take medication for that because it's my God-given personality. God gave me this personality and I'm going to use the unique traits I have. I can out-obsess, out-compulse people. People hate that. I have some people like, are you ever going to stop writing? Are you ever going to stop doing this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is good. This is good. I'm using my personality. And they don't have that. They're going to have different traits and tendencies. A little bit of obsessive compulsive is good. Also perfectionism. I have a little bit of perfectionism. I learned to manage it when I was younger. It was too extreme when I was younger. And now a little bit of perfectionism, I like it. I want to write things out nicely. And I'm going to do them over and over again until they're perfect and they're nice. If these numbers don't match up, why don't they match up? I can't stand this. Doing my tax return, if numbers don't match up, I can't stand it. I want to know it's not over until everything matches up perfectly, I feel like. So a little bit of perfectionism is good, not too much, manage it. I'm a lazy person. Remember, lazy has two definitions. And one definition is the good definition is I try to find a simpler way to do things. I'm also a selfish person. I don't let the internet take up too much of my time. I don't let other people take up too much of my time. I don't let people put their hands in my pockets. I don't let bosses or teachers control me too much. I'm selfish. Selfish with my time, selfish with my playtime, and selfish with my effort. So I put a lot of my effort on myself and spend a lot of my time on myself to take care of myself. So that's selfish. Remember, selfish, there's better and worse definitions of that too. So those are my personality traits that help me on my financial journey. You're going to have to look at yourself and think, what things do I have in my personality that I can use to become wealthy? And and those will come out during the journey. You'll say, hey, you know what? Before they told me I was a bad student, I'm actually a good student. I love this financial stuff. I love real estate. They'll say that you're a bad student, but as you go along your financial journey, you'll find that actually maybe you're a good student. Maybe you love your job. You love working. I love all my jobs. I miss all my jobs, from making pizza to working at the airport to teaching and driving the city bus. I miss them all. But maybe you're like, no, I want to keep doing my job. That's fine. Stick with it and just pump that money into rental real estate, or keep doing your job and pump that money into partnerships with other people so you can just enjoy your job. You got to find that out for yourself, what your natural tendencies are and your natural habits are. So I hope I've cleared this up a little bit more for you. Soldier, athlete, optional, very clear. The rules, the uniform is all very clear. The reason why you're having difficulty with financial independence is it's very vague. I understand that. It's going to be hard. It's hard for us all. It took me 36 years to finally retire, to figure it out. You need people like me, because just start talking. When I meet you, just say, when I meet you the next time, say how you feel. And me as someone who likes psychology and I like anthropology, I'm going to hear it and I'm going to try to say something that'll help you see it from my side. Because I've gone on this journey, I'm figuring things out, and I like to make videos and write about it to try to clear things up for you. So I hope this video has cleared it up for you a little bit more. You're dealing with something that's not optional. So there's a little bit of pain involved here. It's a little bit of hurt. It's hard to live. Living is easy, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not simple. You have a lot of things to try to figure out here. You have spirituality, and you have good people, and you have bad people, and deception, and what does it all mean? So I hope this video has been helpful for you. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me, especially emotional or thinking questions. From Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, good night, and I'll see you later.